It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so dope. Everything's about Chelsea, feel that pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. So the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so dope. Everything's about Chelsea, feel that pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Chelsea all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. So the banners fly high under the sun. Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so dope. Everything's about Chelsea, feel that pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Jesse all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. Though the banners fly high under the sun, every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show, where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel our pride. We're repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Jesse all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. Though the banners fly high under the sun, every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show, where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel our pride. We're repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. In the stands we jump and sway, feel the beat. Got that rhythm in our hearts, can't take defeat. Every match we rise, watch the game unfold. Blue blood running deep, our story told. With every win we celebrate our crew. Chanting songs for Jesse all day, it's true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, 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 no one. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. Don't the banners fly high under the sun? Every player on that field, together we run. With each kick we feel the passion ignite. For Chelsea our hearts shine forever bright. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, loud, loud. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd. It's a blue morning show where the vibes are flowing, so fresh, so low. Everything's about Chelsea, feel like pride. We repping our team, standing side by side. We don't lose, we carry that blue. Talk Chelsea, see Chelsea, it's all true. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud, loud, loud. All them a cheer, them a cheer. Cheer, 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 loud as the crowd.
Yes, good people. Big up to all of you. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome to another Blue Morning Show. I get it. It's afternoon for you people. Afternoon to me too, or for me too. But yeah, it's a Blue Morning Show, so we're just going to call it that. So welcome and welcome once again to the Blue Morning Show. I do hope you're all doing well. Today we are going into the part two of the Chelsea show where we look at each of our players and decide whether that player is underplayed or underused, maybe underrated or overrated, underperforming or just performing. But welcome once again. Let's get started without wasting much of your time. But first of all, the first thing we do will be to address news items out there, get that knocked out, and then get into the show proper. So without wasting much of your time, I'll be going into the presentation window. Is it even ready? Give me 1 second here. Let me do this and come back to you. But once again, big up to all of you. This is the window that I'm looking for. Um, All right, give me 1 second here. I'll bring up the window in a bit. We are going to go news hunting first. Something interesting that I wanted us to look at, just I found it out there and realized, okay, maybe we should look at it since it's one of the themes that talked about the most currently within the Chelsea community. I'm struggling with the lighting here. Maybe I need to move it to somewhere else. All right, let's get into it without wasting much of your time right there. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, there you go. This is just stats. Yeah, Rich James got 8 starts in the Premier League this season, and of the 8 starts he's made for Chelsea Football Club, he's played the DM role twice, and I think yeah, strictly the Premier League, maybe 3 times because I think he played that role in in the Conference League. So 2 games against Aston Villa and then against Arsenal. So just to make it clear, it's not like that. Therefore, he's been playing in that position for the entirety, for the entire season, or since the start of the season. But yeah, people see what they, you can say, what aligns with their narrative. They just take that alone and run with it. And I've seen people also, you can say, highlighting what John Terry said. He granted an interview to I don't know whether a news outlet or whatever it is, but he did grant an interview, talked about quite a lot, talked about how patience is needed, talked about how the manager needs to be given time, talked about how lack of experience within the squad simply means you have to be patient for the players we have to mature. He also did talk about how even when at the start of the season we were doing well, he knew that that period would come when we'd have issues. Yeah, just like some people knew at the time that it wasn't going to last, that there would be, you say, the struggle. There would be a period in the season where with a struggle. It turns out a lot of people deep down did believe at the time that we were in a title race. You realize that was a situation because of how they're all bent out of shape and how they're all finding reasons just to complain because yeah, deep down at the time they didn't pay attention to the fact that where we are currently at this stage of at this phase of the process that yeah we were never really in the title race. Mathematically we were, but realistically no, we were never. But despite the way, so he talked about all those things, but the two things people were paid attention to, or maybe they got from that interview was that he said Reece James is a fullback, not a midfielder. And what was it again? Something else that he's not a big fan of inverted fullback approach. And those are the two things they heard. Just because it's something, those are the two things that align with their reason to slit the manager or start complaining, and not just support the team as they should. But just by the way, we move on from that. I'm going to say hello to the only person, one and only person in the chat. Before I move on, give me 1 second here. So we continue news hunting, which is something we do to see if the panelists will find time to join me on the panel so you can get diversified opinion and not just listen to me alone or waffle. But that's by the way, we've addressed this one. Namaya, big up to you. Nice to see you. You said quite a lot. I'm gonna just find the most aligned to the current topic and read it. So I'm not gonna read everything you have there. But respect to you and Constantine Dante. Okay, Dante, he just made it clear here that he's not going to be part of this one. He wants to go to bed early. Yeah, time difference is a huge issue for us, but I think we're going to be streaming around this period or maybe 1 hour earlier. That's the only timing that will work for me, except if we find a capable host that we can trust. Okay, we'll get to that in a bit. When we talk about Sancho, you can bring up his name. Um, you can bring up all the points you've made here so we can get going into it. And he says that I would send Sancho to my United. He's not made for the Premier League. I think you're just echoing some of the things I've heard from the big accounts within the Chelsea community, but that you're entitled to your opinion. If you feel like they're correct and you're echoing what they said, then which means that is a reflective of your opinion also. It's sad teams don't fear us anymore. They bullied us. Okay. All you do these days is complain, but that is a reflective of how you deep down feel about the club, and you're entitled to do so. Yep, let's see. News hunting. We will continue with that. Let's go. What else do we have here? I'm on my friend's page, Chelsea Dodgers. One of the accounts I trust the most to be as objective as possible, even though he's a Chelsea fan too. When we lose games, at least he speaks with he speaks does speak objectively. He's a human. Sometimes you can sense bias, not bias really. You can sense, you can say emotional. You can sense that sometimes some of his opinions are driven by his emotions, which is natural. It happens to all of us. But despite the way, the new FIFA Club World Cup trophy was on display at the bridge. It's beautiful. There's a depth to it. It's not just a hollow cup or something like that. It's something special, and I like it. This competition has the potential to outgrow the UEFA Champions League. In prize money, it's actually close. You get around 500 million plus if you end up winning it. That's a lot of money. But it's beautiful, and I like it. There's you have to put in a key, turn the key around, and then the depth shows or something to that effect. What else do we have here? And if you have Nema, if you have any news you want us to talk about, put it there since we're still news hunting right now. Before we get into uh, categorizing players as either underused, overrated, underrated, performing, underperforming, these one of these categories that I've mentioned. Let's see. Official Giovanni Coenda and Dario Isugo transfers and fees to Chelsea have been confirmed. Details: Coenda for £42 million. plus 1.1 million variable. Player remains on loan at Sporting for the 25-26 season. Esugo, 18.6 million pounds fixed. Player will join Chelsea next season. I'm happy for these two signings after doing my research, and people are still complaining, asking why didn't we use that money to buy a striker immediately. I don't want us to buy a striker in a rush. I want us to take our time, do our do a good research on the striker, uh, work with the manager, and not just sign one because we're desperate for one. I don't want us to make a mistake. We've been there before. How many strikers have we signed, and how many have really worked out? Except for Diego Costa after Didier Drogba. Yeah. So it's there's still time till the summer, and we've made it clear that yeah, we are going to sign a striker in the summer. And then the news came out that the plan is to offload about 7 players at least to balance the books and then have enough money to sign a big name striker. And people are still complaining, which I don't blame them. I've said this 1,000 times and I'm going to say it again. Whatever I hear, again, just the way I categorize everything that I hear from Chelsea fans, whatever they say is coming from a place of love. They want the club to do well, but sometimes it only makes sense to speak objectively. Sometimes it's good to speak objectively and speak like you have some brain cells in your skull. I don't mean to disrespect anybody, but I'm just speaking how I feel right now about how we behave sometimes. This says, I find it baffling that we have to sell to buy a striker. Nothing baffling there. At least with the plan is to buy a striker, and yeah, we do have to sell because all the players we have cannot and will not, in any circumstance, be part of the first team. It's really that simple. So what is baffling about it? And like I said to Maya, I've learned that you're into echoing what you're hearing from the big accounts. What's baffling about it? At least the intent is to solve a problem, irrespective of whether we end up selling 20 players to buy a striker. The aim is to solve a problem. Be grateful for that. Does it really matter? And what if we say, okay, you know what, we're not going to sign a striker? And who, in fact, can you help me find a video where you say Igbali or the sporting directors saying that we definitely do have to sell players before we buy a striker? I mean, it's easy to believe that that's the case because it makes sense, because it sounds logical in the sense that we have a few players that's clear they don't want to be here anymore. What option do we have? Sell them. We have players that we've bought that, yeah, that are clearly surplus to requirement. What option do we have? The only viable option is sell them. Raheem Sterling, Ben Chilwell, nothing new there. What is wrong in selling those players to raise funds to sign a player we want? Nothing wrong in it. So that's one thing that confuses me about Chelsea players. Sell players that don't want to be here or are not performing as expected and buy new players. It's nothing new. That is something that clubs do all the time. So I'm not. If you find it baffling, enjoy it. You're entitled to your opinion. But just by the way, just go away, man. All right, what else do we have here? We are interested in signing Olaina as a free agent. I heard. If that's not the case, do let me know. I heard from somebody that commented on my post on Instagram where I said something to the effect of it makes sense to sign him because he's a good player. That person mentioned that he'd be a free agent at the end of the season. I want us to sign him, even if you think uh, as a free agent for me, I think he'd be an excellent addition to our squad. He knows the Premier League. He's a good player, in my opinion. I think the argument from Dante yesterday was that he's not capable of inverting as the manager would want our fullbacks to do. I think we can use them in a traditional manner. And at his age, I think I don't think he'd have a problem joining Chelsea as a squad player and gets to play only when the manager wants to, you could say, play in a traditional manner. But That being said, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him play again fulfill the inverted fullback role. So there's no way to say certainly that he's not going to be able to fulfill that role as effective as Cucurella. But that's probably well, let's see what else we have here. Viega over Colwell anytime, any day, and that's me. And that's not me saying Colwell is a bad player, but unfortunately, when you make that statement public, you get a serious stick from people letting you know, you can say arguing that you don't know what you're talking about. Unfortunately, yep. The players we didn't give a chance. Do you really? How are we going to give all the players chance? Name one player that we didn't give a chance. And it's not new for a manager to come in and say, "I don't want this player." There's nothing new there. It's just that some of the things we're hearing from the fans are just driven purely, you can say, purely by their hatred of Enzo Maresca. Not really because they speak in facts, not really because they're being objective. I've seen people argue Ben Chilwell cannot, you can say, fulfill the inverted fullback role. If the manager says it cannot, it's really that simple. Then yeah, he's done. If the reason is because he's one of the top earners at the club and the club wants him gone, for me it's still a good reason because irrespective of how you see it, Chelsea Football Club is a business first of all. And even at that, forget the nonsense argument, the redonkulous, stupid argument I've heard from Chelsea fans that the owners are here just to make profit and not to win. They're not what's the language that I've heard? They're not oh I can't quite remember what's the most used language whenever they talk about that silly whenever they present that silly argument. First of all, that argument is so flawed that it doesn't make sense. Football is a result-driven business. Yeah, and you cannot make profit if you don't win, if you don't get results. It's really that simple. Do I think the owners have made mistakes? I'd be the first to raise up my hand and count a few mistakes they've made. But it just doesn't make sense to argue they're here just to make profit and not to win. Then if they don't win, where's the profit? Where would the profit come from? In football, yeah, profit doesn't exist independently. Profit and results don't exist independently. You just cannot have one without the other, unfortunately. But despite let's see what else we have here. We needed to build either a solid spine of players or sign world class players in positions we are lacking: goalkeepers, striker, centre backs. I think it was before before we signed Tosin or so. I was telling people that definitely the owners will start taking corrective measures, and believe me, I think they started doing that. Pedro is experienced, Tosin is experienced, and I think we'll sign an experienced striker. But here's where my problem lies. If we sign a young striker, I think the argument that yeah, we're just only into signing young players will persist. Why? Because yeah, people use experience and age interchangeably without the understanding that yeah, there are young players who are more experienced than older players, unfortunately. But that's something you don't blame people for because usually in most cases older players are more experienced because they've been in the game for a while and played a lot more games, so thereby in most cases they are more experienced. But that doesn't mean younger players aren't more experienced. Cannot be a young player cannot be more experienced than an older player, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. We have a total of 13 people watching, only 2 of those on YouTube. The rest shared between X and Facebook, definitely. We really appreciate you. If you can take a second and drop a like on the video for us. Thank you, and thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. If that's how you see it, leave me out of it. Just see it the way you see it. You're entitled to your opinion, okay? Let's see what else we have here. Um, I don't know. I just scrolled into that one and I don't want to read it. Cole Palmer is set to undergo a second scan on his muscular injury. Chelsea are hoping that he will be fit to feature against Tottenham in April. I think he'd be ready. The first scan, we were told nothing too serious. But a second one is always important to ensure that the issues weren't missed during the first scan. So if the second scan confirms that there's anything something serious, then yeah, would be better off knowing now and start proper treatment. We don't want to miss anything, and then he plays one game and gets injured again. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Sanchez said he's leaving. I saw that, and I just couldn't stop laughing. It was just as if when you're in a relationship that you can say you're already tired of that relationship and you're looking for a way out, and then the other person just you can say breaks it to you that yeah, I'm done, and you pretend as if yeah, you're pained to hear the news, but deep down you're actually celebrating the news. But that's by the way, and I have my bro in the house today. Woo! Big up, big up, big up to you. Always nice to see you. I do hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular afternoon for me. The plan is to start an hour earlier, but there's a reason why we're starting an hour late. But it will be between 11 a.m. CST and 12 p.m. CST. So we're trying to maintain to find consistency here. But if you see our community members, tell them the Blue Morning Show is back and back for good. We'll be streaming on a daily basis as long as I'm healthy. And if we can find a capable host to trust, then yeah, nothing stops us. Let's see. I was thinking, don't threaten us with a good time. Okay, more likes, people. Before the likes, people, let's get the likes up. 8 likes. Definitely, we can do a lot better than that. So what else here? Man United will let Ruben Amorim decide Jadon Sancho's future in the unlikely event the return to Old Trafford. There have been suggestions that Chelsea would look to back out of the agreement even if the condition is met. This is just absolute horse dung. I've talked about it. We did talk about it yesterday at length, actually, and Dante joined, and I think uh, he views the situation just as I do. Uh, Listen, irrespective of whether you think Sancho is good enough for Chelsea or not, he represents good business for reasons we've already talked about here. One, he's a good player. Whether you feel like he hasn't done well at Chelsea, which for me I beg to differ. He's done well enough, and he's struggled only when every other player in our squad has struggled. I don't know why. So he represents good business. He's English, and it just doesn't make sense to pay. I think the quoted number is £10 million in fine to back out of the deal. It just doesn't make sense. Why not add another £15 million, paying £25 million in total? And if we decide, whenever we decide to sell him, we'll sell him for around £50 million or so. But here's the thing. Even at that, Sancho stays at Chelsea and he's going to play a lot of games for Chelsea. He's happy. Chelsea are happy. We've heard that from the transfer guru himself, Fabrizio Romano. So everything else for me at this point is absolute horse dung. Until I hear from somebody like Fabrizio Romano himself say, yeah, Chelsea are looking to move on from Jadon Sancho. But the only thing we've heard from him is that Chelsea want to keep him. Chelsea are happy with him, and he's happy. He's home. He's a London kid. Jadon should stay, and it makes business sense. And letting him go and pay a fee, it just doesn't make any sort of sense. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. But unfortunately, people would just, you could say, echo what they hear from their favorite big Chelsea content account, if that makes sense. And more here is saying Sancho must stay at Chelsea. I think he stays. But listen, this is you can say they are this is content creators, journalists, and news outlets exploiting our situation, exploiting maybe the Sancho situation. Nothing too serious there, in my opinion. It's a 5 million for Sancho penalty fine. Yeah, even at that, yeah. But thank you for correcting that. We saw 10. I think the numbers being quoted online on X to be more specific what I saw was 10 million pounds. But thank you for saying it's five. Even though it's five, we'll pay extra 20, and then should we decide to sell him in the future, we'll get nearly twice as that. So it just doesn't make sense to let him go right now. But thank you, Chesky. Let's see what else we have here. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular afternoon. 8 likes, we can do a lot better than that. So let's keep searching. Anything else here to talk about? All right, Romeo Lavia sends his full support to Omari Kellyman after his injury. I mean, another part-time, one part-time player to another part-time player. I'm sorry if that you can say if I shouldn't be saying that. I sincerely do apologize. The email. Okay, what's going on here? Let's see what's going on here. The email. One second. All right. What else do we have here? We've read that one. Big up, bro. Nice to see you here. I do hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Looks like you're joining from Facebook, I'm guessing. And then we do have Nemaya saying he better performs. Sancho and score goals get lost. I mean, he doesn't owe you that. I mean, he owes it to himself to perform. It's his career. He gets paid to score goals and create the chances. And I think he will. He's done well, but you have every right to see it otherwise. In my opinion, he's done really well. Honestly, I wouldn't say really well, but he's done well enough. Yeah, what did that to do? Do you think Chelsea should sell Reece James? No, no. Here's the thing. I'm going to say what I said before. James, he's an excellent player. He can play in multiple positions. He can fulfill the DM role, irrespective of what Chelsea fans think. And by the way, Chelsea fans, we were the ones calling for the manager to start using him in a midfield role. We did call for Potter to do the same. Even I think Pochettino and even meant to going to the extent to the measure of measuring that that was well, at one point where he played in that position for Wigan when he was on loan there. But that's why do I think Chelsea should sell him? I'd say no. He's that sort of player. He has the intelligence. He's so good. He's a good footballer. That if you can get 10 games from him in a season, that could be the difference between you achieving your goals and not and not achieving your goals. If you get my point, he's that good. Had it not been for how good he is, and I think by now the owners would be hearing news about the owners looking to sell him. But no, they know how good he can be, and the belief is still that yeah, eventually he'll overcome that the reoccurring injury, and the signs are good. He's been fit for a while now. Hopefully, he comes back healthy after the because yeah, he's in the England camp right now, English national team camp. Hopefully, he doesn't get injured. This is the longest for a while now that he's recovered and stayed fit. So hopefully, like Dante said the other day, because he's gone under the knife and maybe taking care of the reoccurring injury permanently. I hope that's the case. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we should sell him. Let's see what else we have here. James is breaking out wage structure. He's breaking out wage structure though. Yeah, the owners don't care. They know that he's a good player. Yeah, they know that. Yeah, it doesn't matter to them really. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Apologies, people. I'm with my boys alone at home, and usually when that's the case, it's difficult to host a show without the noise coming in from the living room. And this place isn't soundproof yet. Still working on it. But thank you. I appreciate you. DM, yeah, exactly. It's not like the manager. It's not like he's moved him into that position on a permanent basis. Yeah, we had to use him because of his experience, the physicality, and everything to sort out the issue we're having currently. But people are losing their shit for that reason. We will have Moisés Caicedo, Enzo Santos, Sugo, Lavia. We have numbers in that department. But right now, because of his experience, I don't think Amogu will get a chance to play there. Why we have Rich James? Yeah. And it depends on the opposition too. More likes, people, more likes. We have 10 likes. We should be doing a lot better than that. What else do we have here? So let's read this. I was the email seen by BBC. We started reading this and then stopped. The email seen by BBC Sports also explains Chelsea have an investigation team who track a ticket purchasing and a membership accounts, including a team of uniformed and plainclothes staff to investigate tickets misuse, identify and apprehend touts, in-person seats checks, and all that. This is not in. I don't appreciate this news. That's not of any concern to me. Let's see what else we have here. Anything interesting here? Cole Palmer has not officially withdrawn from the England. That was yesterday. I think he's officially withdrawn right now. Even Thomas Tuchel did release a statement saying something to the effect of it wouldn't make sense to include Palmer in the squad, given that he's at the time was undergoing a second scan to ensure that everything is all right. So it'd be a huge risk. So thank you to Thomas Tuchel for understanding. I just want him to take care of whatever it is that's bugging him, for lack of a more relatable language, and get over with it and be ready by the time the international break is over. I heard Real Madrid looking at Enzo Fernandez. At this point, you can argue it's absolute nonsense. Why? Um, should Chelsea decide they want to sell Enzo Fernandez, I think they'd be asking something north of 100 million pounds. And though I think Real Madrid will be willing to pay that much money for Enzo Fernandez, I'd say no. But more importantly, I don't think Chelsea are interested in selling him. And I think there was a news yesterday that came out yesterday, a report that came out yesterday that stated clearly that Chelsea aren't looking to sell him. He's been one of our best players since the start of the season. And yeah, he looks leaner. You could say in the best condition. He is in what I'd say the best condition I've seen him in terms of his fitness. Um, but that's by the way. I don't want to read anything from Robert Sanchez, unfortunately. But yeah, that's it. I think it's time to get into the tier list exercise where for each player we we discuss or maybe debate whether we should categorize them as underused, underrated, overrated. We have performing and underperforming. So far, for underused, we have Tosin for reasons I think many of us know. For me, he's proven that he's arguably one of the centre backs that we currently have at the club. But the manager, for some reason, just doesn't use him. He's the most experienced. He reads the game better than any of the CVs we have right now. He's deceptively quick. I know a lot of people don't think he's quick. Acceleration maybe doesn't accelerate really quick. He has excellent passing range. He's the only centre back we currently have at the club that doesn't panic under persistent pressure from opponents. But every other defender we have, from Levi Colwell to Benwa Badiashile, to what's his name, even Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, even what's his name, the one that's on loan as Aston Villa, the CC. Uh, we'll start games well, score about 2-3 goals, but once we face persistent pressure from the opposition, you see them making silly mistakes, but you don't see that from Tosin. I don't know why the manager, why he didn't start the Arsenal game. There are other games where I'd swear that had he been on the pitch, that certain goals we concede, that we wouldn't have considered those goals. We couldn't have, yeah. This, but here's the thing: for some reason, the manager don't use him as as I think he should be using him. He's a leader too. But just by the way, for the underrated column row, we have Enzo Fernandez. For me, and even here's the thing: I we were debating what column to place him in. There were already a few people in the comment section yesterday. There were people in the comment section arguing that he's not good enough, that he's not underrated, he's not good enough. On the there, we heard all sorts of things yesterday, but the truth remains he has to be one of the most underrated Chelsea players currently. And even when the manager opted for the pairing of Romeo Lavia and Moisés Caicedo, only a few people knew at the time that the reason for that was the managers just are focused on fixing our defensive issues at the time, ensuring that we have more protection in the midfield area. We have ensuring that we had two sixes at the time. You can say that we do a lot more defensively to show that our, you can argue, porous defensive line. And that worked. It led to us conceding less. But at the same time, because of his absence, it led to we started creating less chances and scoring less goals at the time. Somebody could argue, somebody might bring up the argument, okay, well then how many chances did they create and how many assists does he have currently? Uh he's actually, again, let's look at this. Let me not just throw the numbers at you. Let's look at it. I think I have FOTMob open here. It will show us that it is actually one of our top performers in terms of chance creation and all that. But unfortunately, people don't respect Enzo Fernandez. Give me 1 second. Let's do that here. Um, so for me, yeah, he's been one of our top three performers since the start of the season. And that's my opinion anyway. I mean, you have every right to disagree with me, but if you understand football, in my opinion, you'd know that, yeah, truthfully, one of our top three performers since the start of the 24-25 season. I know a lot of people think you can say otherwise, but that's the reason why he's actually one of arguably Chelsea's most underrated player. Give me a second while this loads. And while you wait for it to load, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Sincerely do appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular afternoon. This is going to take a while. I'll wait. Once it's ready, I'll come back to it to show you his numbers. So then for overrated, we have Nkunku. Dante's argument being that we signed him from how much we signed him, and then he's hardly ever stayed. Again, he's almost always injured. But now that he's recovered, he had opportunities in the Euros and the European competition Conference League to prove to the manager that he should be starting in the Premier League. If anything, he did well, but you can say not well enough to take Nicholas Jackson's place in the Premier League. Had he done well enough, there was a time when a lot of people within the fan base were calling for him to start over Nicholas Jackson, because Jackson at the time was struggling. That didn't happen. Why? Because he didn't do enough in the Conference League. He scored a few goals, penalties, and tapping. So I'm beginning to actually align with Dante in terms of seeing his performance in the Conference League from that perspective. So Nkunku, for me, even especially in the absence of Nicholas Jackson, uh, he's not measuring expectations. He's not. He's underperformed, and in most cases looked disinterested. For me, the way I described it to Dante was that he looks as if he's not here in spirit. He's gone. We just have his body at Chelsea. The case of um, Levi Kowa, you could argue the hype is the problem. The hype from the English media or Chelsea fans, English fans to be more specific, or maybe non-objective fans, is that they hyping him to the measure that he hasn't reached. They're hyping him as if he's John Terry or as if he's the best CB in the world. Listen, disclaimer: he's a good player. and he's still very young and can only get better. He may well mature into one of the Van Dijks or John Terrys of this world, but currently he's nowhere near that. And people see him as such. That's why we agreed. Yeah, he fits well into into the overrated role, in my opinion. You can disagree, and if you disagree, let us know why you disagree. It's really that simple. Wesley Fofana, the fact that after how much we paid for him, and the fact that he's hardly ever fit enough, irrespective of whether he's capable of becoming the next John Terry, Van Dijk, or maybe Antonio Rudiger. I don't think he's measured the fans' expectations. He's nowhere near that. So for me, he fits really well in a overrated role, in my opinion. Same for Robert Sanchez, given his age, given you can say the expectations and how much we paid for him. Yeah, overrated. That one is actually easy. And for Mark Cucurella, he's just performing. You don't hear people say nonsense about him. Even when he had two slips in a single game, leading to us conceding two goals against Tottenham, even at that, the fans didn't turn against him. They didn't turn on him. So he's performing. He's just doing his thing. Yep. And for Driscoll Hall, at this point, underperforming because we have to also pay attention to how many opportunities, to the measure of opportunities he's gotten, and even when he's given the opportunity to play in a position where he can be most effective. So it makes sense to put him on the underperforming, and when he's gotten opportunities, he just looked as under too much pressure. Maybe the pressure of being a Chelsea player maybe is something he's not been able to deal with. But the signs are good. For who's the next person there? The Sassy underperforming. Rich James, yep, underperforming. As good as he is, he's underperforming. I we're not saying he's overrated. We know he's not overrated. He's an excellent player, but yeah, he hasn't measured the sort of performance or form he showed on the Thomas Tuchel and all that. So at this point, he's underperforming. Malo Gusto, we cannot say he's overrated or underrated or underused. He's gotten a lot of opportunities, but he's been underperforming. And I think it's important to consider the fact that the manager has been using him in a manner you could argue that made it difficult for him to apply himself effectively on the pitch. That is the inverted fullback role. So you could argue even at that, it's just I think he fits perfectly into the underperforming role. So we have a total of 20 people following the show, four on YouTube. The rest are shared, I'm guessing, definitely between X and Facebook. Wherever you're following the show on, do us a favor, take a second, drop a like on the video, and also if you're following the show on X, follow our X account, help us get to 5,000 um, um, followers as soon as possible. On Facebook, help us get to 800 followers as soon as possible. And if you don't mind, check us out on Instagram. We're getting closer to 9,000 followers. On TikTok, we're getting closer to 23,000 followers. So please check us out on those platforms and be sure to follow us. So let's talk about. Okay, here's the thing. Ben Chilwell is still a Chelsea player, and it's important to talk about it. In this case, I'd say underused. At this point, it wouldn't make sense to say he's underrated. Nope. Overrated. Nope. We know he's a good player. Probably so. Just the whole thing is that he's surplus to requirement under Enzo Maresca. So it makes sense. Benchua, I think it makes sense to place him in the underused role. He didn't get a chance. It's really that simple. Give me a second here. Let me fix this. Um, is that Ventura there? I think that's him. Why isn't this one? Do I need to refresh this? If I refresh this, all the work done will be gone. How do I handle this for it to listen to me? Wow, this is serious, really. Yeah, it looks like I definitely have to refresh this, and I don't want to do that. All right, how do I fix this? Okay, I think I have a screenshot of this. Let me just refresh it. The screenshot will help me fix it. Apologies for that, guys. I didn't know it was going to do that. That's why I've told people we need to build our own application. It won't take me 2 days. The only issue is to find the time to work on one. Jesus Christ, this is going to make the whole thing just, gosh. All right, let's see what it does. Oh my gosh, I don't like this. I'm not sure how to get this to work. Why isn't this refreshing? At least if it refreshes, then yeah, I can just put the players back there. So we can continue this in peace. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna close that window and open a new one. Give me 1 second. But while you wait for me, please kindly do me a favor, drop a like on the video, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So let's do this. But we're definitely going to create a new one. While you wait for that to start working properly, if you have any questions, drop in the comment section. I'll try to address it. And if I don't see your question, if I don't, if I don't know have the answer to your question, I'll pretend I don't see it. Perfect. Yep, it's working now. So let's go ahead. We're talking about Ben Chilwell. In all fairness, I think, yeah, definitely underused because he didn't get to play. And maybe we should have added a column called what's going on here? Give me 1 second. Maybe we should have a column called surplus requirement, but yeah, that would be for 25, 26 season. So Ben Chilwell, yeah, we all can agree underused because he didn't play. So, but in this case, the manager from Time made it clear that yeah, he is not part of his plan. Yeah, made it clear that he's yeah doesn't have a place in the team. Who else do we have here? Jadon Sancho. It's difficult because I'm just going by my opinion, no counter opinion or counter argument. So you best you're just gonna deal with it as I go, or if you have a counter opinion, you can say view of my conclusion, you should let me know. Jadon Sancho for me, I'd say underperforming. I wouldn't say he's underused. He's had opportunity to prove that he's a good player. I wouldn't say underrated. We know what he's capable of doing. There are people who value him. There are people that don't value him. Performing, I wouldn't say he's performing. Um, yeah, I'd still say underperforming because he's had a few, you could argue, stinkers, but he's not a bad player. I think we know that. Oh my goodness, I really need to, as quickly as I can, develop our own application because this isn't working. Yeah, it's not working. It looks like it's frozen right now. Ah, my gosh, what's going on here? All right, let's try it again. And the reason is it freezes like this. A lot of, you can say, ads, which is the only way those that develop the application. That's the only way they make money. They don't have. I don't know if you have paid version of it. If they have a paid version, maybe I'll try it so that the ads will stop. But I think I can develop one without 2 days. No need to do that. Where's Jadon Sancho? Yeah, I think Sancho is already there actually. So Jadon Sancho underperforming. I think he's had good opportunities to do even better than ample enough opportunity to do better than he's done already. But He's had a few stinkers, but that's not to say he's a bad player. And it wouldn't make sense to categorize him as underused. No, he's played enough. Not underrated. A lot of people know what he's capable of doing. Is he performing? No, not as expected. So underperforming. Maybe he needs to do more. Who else is important to look at here? Moisés Caicedo. I'm gonna find the simple ones. I knew in advance that Dante wasn't going to be here. I'm going to find the simpler ones that we could say I would get consensus opinion on what category to place them. So Moises Caicedo performing definitely. He's not been perfect, but the only thing suitable role for me is performing. He's performed not I wouldn't say consistently. I mean, he's had bad games, but usually the bad games we've witnessed from Caicedo is usually those games where every player on the pitch on the day underperformed. So it makes sense to place him in the performing column. No question. Who else here? Let's simplify. Pedro Neto. That's an interesting one. Let me see if I can find a simpler one where we can have a consensus opinion agreement, or maybe to make it easy because it's just me. Okay, let's do Romeo Lavia for me. I'd say underperforming. Um, he doesn't fit in the underused role. He's gotten opportunities and played well whenever he's available. Underrated, I would say no. Overrated, I would say no. He's a good player. Performing, I would say no. They say availability is the best ability. Has he been available? No, he's almost always injured to the extent that Rodrigo called him a part-time player. So for me, even though he's played well whenever again he was fit and he got a chance to play, it's underperforming. Yeah, it's he clearly you can say haven't performed for us. That's because when we need them, he's usually not available. So it makes sense to place him in the underperforming role, not because he's a bad player, because he's hardly ever available. And I think a lot of people will agree with that. Yeah, Romeo Lavia there. For hmm, I'm gonna I'm gonna try the one for Nani Madueke. Let's do that one. So we'll still review Houston, even if I end up plugging in all the players and again in categorizing the players. I think we still have opportunity with where you'd have more than one panelist, so you can get diversified opinion on the roles that the players are placed. That way, we can still have a debate on whether they're placed in the wrong row or the right row, or maybe move them to another one. But right now, you just have to work with me. So I was talking about who's that? Nani Madueke. I'd say for me, I'd say underrated. He's not one of my favorite players, but in all honesty, I'd say he's underrated. Why? Uh, I mean, he's done well for Chelsea since the start of the season. Has areas where I've talked about how he needs to improve. Again, that he has some aspect of his game. One in particular, one aspect of his game that he has to work on to become a much better player, and which is to be a little more, just to be a little less you can say selfish. If he can become a little more selfless and be a little less selfish, I think he'd be an excellent player. Because in most cases, I get it. His creative chances for his teammates, he has a few assists actually. Don't take You can't take away that from him. But there were occasions where he had teammates in better positions. You can say in positions where if had he looked up and crossed the ball to them, all they do is just tap in the ball and they get a goal. But in those instances, he opted to shoot, and a lot of people paid attention to that. Um, so when you see selfless players like Cole Palmer or Pedro Neto, when they when they you can if every now and then when you see them be selfish, you don't complain because majority of the times they're selfless. They're looking for their teammates, better positioned teammates to make it easier for the team to score. It's not an issue. But when a player is selfish and gets to be selfless every you can say with selfless is selfish when a player is selfish majority of the times and only gets to be selfless sometimes yeah, that player definitely should be called selfish, and that's his case. If he can learn to be just less selfish and more selfless, he'd be an excellent player. He's not a bad player. He's a fine dribbler, um, and he can finish too. But that doesn't mean he should almost always try to get a goal rather than create for his teammates. The case should be the opposite, in my opinion. So I'd say I put Nani Madueke, as much as I know he has to improve that aspect of his game. I'd put him in underrated. Yeah, in my opinion. But that's just me, really. Unfortunately, that's it. It's only me on on the panel today, so you're not getting much of a diversified opinion, just my opinion. But if you're in the comment section or you're watching and you feel otherwise, let's hear you. So for me, Nani Madeke, uh, definitely underrated, irrespective of the fact that I'll tell you that he's not my favorite Chelsea player. Yeah. Who else makes sense here to categorize? Marky for me, I'd say underused. Underused, and it's easy to understand why. I'm gonna try to explain. We had a period uh, uh, when Nicholas Jackson was underperforming in the Premier League. He in the Premier League, he looked as if he mental break maybe, lots of pressure on him at the time, and the manager we again Dean you could argue it was clear that he doesn't trust again Dean still doesn't trust Nkunku and wasn't going to bring in Nkunku to rest Nicholas Jackson or maybe to challenge Nicholas Jackson or maybe to even create a healthy competition. Even though Nkunku isn't a striker, he doesn't see Nkunku as a striker. But when you ask Nkunku, he tell you he sees himself as a striker. I remember one of the interviews he granted when he joined us. He did say, "Now, yeah, he sees himself as a striker, but we know he's not just stereotypical number nine. He's a second striker. He's better deployed as a second striker. He can get you goals and all that. He's an excellent finisher." So the manager at the time didn't give Nkunku opportunity and also didn't give Mark Gui an opportunity. You can say a good enough game time in the Premier League. The key, he's a fine finisher on his day. The only question mark I still have over him is overall ability on the ball, like dropping deep, uh, participating in the play, creating opportunities for his teammates, or drifting to the flanks and still being effective in a more fluid approach. I think that's probably was one of the reasons why he had limited opportunities. I was expecting the manager to at least play him and you could say use him to create to you could say challenge Jackson more. Because for me, at some point, I had the way I saw it at the time was that Jackson probably subconsciously would start to believe that he actually is indispensable. Yeah, and it didn't look like he was concerned about losing his place to anybody. I didn't like the fact that the manager didn't challenge him, didn't give Guich good enough opportunity in the Premier League, even when Jackson was struggling. But that is my opinion anyway. So I'd say for Mark Gui, underused, definitely underused in my opinion. Because he's good enough to start in the Premier League. He can press really really well. He has the energy of a horse in my opinion. Strong. You can bully him. He shoots the ball very well. The only question mark is his overall ability on the ball and his ability to thrive in a fluid approach where he's expected sometimes to drift to the flanks either on the left hand side or on the right hand side. But unfortunately, he didn't play that much until I think he only got the chance to play when I can't quite remember. But let's see. Wax is saying he has a question here. Let me see, Coach. Do you realize you cannot have an opinion on your own channel, but unfortunately, you have only me on the panel. But if you disagree with any of the placement here, you let me know. By the way, I hate to call it my channel because it's a community. And please, if you're watching, if you see our community members, let them know that the Blue Morning Show is back. Well, the timing will be between 11 a.m. To 12 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time. Because yeah, man lives in Texas now, so it's not going to be the same as when I was still living in Las Vegas. But go away, man. I don't like you. Who else here? Who else here? Nicholas Jackson for me still qualifies as performing. In my opinion, he still qualifies as performing. He's only one of those. Yeah, irrespective of whether you think he should be doing better in front of goal, he actually improved. Again, we've seen a lot of improvements from him under Enzo Maresca. Even though you hear Chelsea fans arguing that Maresca hasn't hasn't he's not improved any of our players. I think he has. Um, for put Mudrik underrated. Uh, uh, I still here's the thing. Mudrik for me, I'd say underrated also, in my opinion. People, you could say, weren't paying attention to. Even the managers actually don't rate him, but we know that that's a good player in there. We've seen flashes of what he's capable of doing, but unfortunately, the managers he's played under at Chelsea don't don't seem to three of them how many, I think three managers didn't seem didn't look as if they respect or even value his talents at all. Probably maybe because of his personality, some of them openly in public, especially Enzo Maresca bashing him practically. In my opinion, I didn't like that. But Heston, I'd put Mudrik. I'd put him again in the underrated role. But I'm going to leave his case for when we have more panelists to come argue that you can say so that we have diversified opinions on where to place Mudrik. Um, let's see what else we have here. I'm no Modric is underrated in my opinion, even though I have again I've spoken uh on numerous occasions on areas of his game. One area in particular that he needs to work on to get to that level, which is be a little less selfish and be a little more selfless. Maybe he's improved in that aspect, but we'll find out. Let me see. Vicky is saying how's Nkunku overrated. That was you weren't here. If you were here, then you'd voice your opinion. That's Dante was able to convince me. But Houston, I'd say at this point overrated. But if you think he's not overrated, you speak. I'm listening. How's Nkunku overrated and not underused? I argued underused, but we had two people yesterday say overrated, and they beat me to it. I'm not underused. Maresca didn't do enough for Felix Nkunku and Tosin, irrespective of if he wants them or not. You're the one that got me to start using the word irrespective every time. I can't stop using that word. So Nkunku, listen, let me explain this. The plan is to get some people. I have somebody in mind also. What's his name? My Niger bro. A few people to come onto the panel once we're done with placing the players in the rows. then we get a few panelists to come on in one show. We debate whether players should be moved around or not. But you weren't here yesterday. It was just me. I argued underused, given the fact that in most cases that Maresca hadn't played again out of position, but they made a sensible point. They made a few a few sensible points there. One of which was that the fact that the goals he scored in the Conference League were tappings and penalties. You can argue wasn't easy, but in the Premier League, he's gotten opportunities even before Jackson got injured and didn't take those opportunities. And of late, in the absence of Nicholas Jackson in a fluid approach, when he finds himself in the central position, he seemed, for me, it did come across as disinterested. So I'm going to leave him in that column until we'll have, you can say, when we're done placing them, we have 2 weeks to go before the before the return of club football. We will sit with panelists. I will invite some other content creators to come so we can have that conversation and have a good debate whether we should move players around or not. So, but right now, let him stay there. And an overrated player who delivers in the Conference League, but it's not utilized in the Premier League. That's the same with Gui. I've been told that he controls me. Yeah. Oh, all right, but that's why Vic, we'll see. We'll have that debate. We'll have a lot more people, and we can actually have people vote on that. So yeah, but let's keep going. KDH is the new Gallagher. KDH for me underperforming. I don't think it's the new Gallagher. Gallagher is more energetic. KDH can be energetic too, um, but they're different in my opinion. They're different, but I think in this case, underperforming. Who else can I work with here? I'd say I'll put Mudrik in the underrated. Maybe not underused. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to debate that one with somebody. I think Mudrik is underrated, but I'm not gonna touch him. Pedro Neto. Let's hear your opinion. Wax and Vic. Let's hear your opinion on Pedro Neto. Is he performing? I still put him in underperforming. I know he's not underrated. Underrated. I know he's not overrated. He's a good player. We know he's not underused. He's had plenty of opportunities. I wouldn't say he's performing because he's not uh, no, he's not. He has not performed consistently. He's had a few stinkers until of late. His big things is, I mean, he's picked up. He's playing a much better. Even when he doesn't score goals, he gives, you can say, 150% on pitch. You can see him fighting, trying to do make something happen. But I still put Pedro Neto on in that role underperforming. Um, let's hear your thoughts, Pedro Neto. For me, yeah, underperforming. Again, it's just, yeah, yep. But who else can I do there? I think I can do one more. Again, the plan is to put the players. You can say um, put the players. No, Neto overrated. I disagree. I disagree. Neto isn't overrated. If anything, underperforming. Yep, but he's picked up. You could say he's improved his work rate of late. There were games where I thought, can he even dribble? I was asking that question, can he even dribble a few games? But of late, I'm not taking anything away from him. In the last 3 4 games, I think he's been one of our best players. But not enough to say, yeah, he's performing. I would never say Pedro Neto is overrated. No, he's not. He's not overrated. He's not. Okay, let's start from the top. He's not underused. He's had plenty of opportunities. He's not underrated. We know what he's capable of doing. And nobody's questioning his abilities. He's not overrated. We know what he's capable of doing. He just maybe hasn't measured up. Performing, I wouldn't say he's not performing because he hasn't performed consistently. He's just started. He's only performed consistently for 3 games in a row or so. But before then, he looked as if he couldn't beat his man. Overhyped. Should that be a category? Actually, no. If you're overhyped, then you're overrated. It's simple. Just like in the case of Levi Colwell, in my opinion. So Pedro Neto underperforming. Who else should we rate there? Zhao Felix, I'm not too sure how to rate him. Zhao Felix, that is just, this is just your opinion. I think, yeah, this is one of the reasons why I'd argue that Mudryk is actually underrated. Honestly, Mudryk is actually an intelligent player. But one thing is, I think he's that sort of, in terms of his demeanor or maybe personality. His sort of comes across to me as that Willian type of player that sometimes you see Willian on the sideline warming up. He comes across as someone who's saying in his mind, "How did I find myself here?" Mudryk looks like the criticisms, or maybe they get to him. But if you knew him before he joined Chelsea, you'd know that he's an intelligent player. He can actually create too. But unfortunately, Chelsea fans, he's been branded pace match, and he's not. He's actually a very intelligent player. He has good passing range in him. I think he's. I hope eventually. Just okay. Let's just hope for the best. Let's hope he doesn't get banned and comes back in again. Prove to people that yeah, there's more to him that they know, especially Chelsea fans. And believe me, because I liked him before he joined us. It just seemed as if again, I just wish he joined Arsenal and not Chelsea because I like him. But let's see what you have to say here. But keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes to go along with. Mudryk plays like a thug. Jesus Christ, there's so much potential, but he consistently makes bad decisions. Um, Jesus, that's not a nice one. Uh, All right, I think I'm gonna start with with that one. We still have Anselmino. We can't Cesare Caside. We cannot. Carney Chukwuemeka, I think we will. Yeah, on loan. Cole Palmer definitely performing, irrespective of the bad form. I think maybe we need to add another row there to accommodate somebody like him who's struggling with a confidence or something. But even at that, actually, I think he's still he. I think we should still consider him performing. That's the easy one. So João Felix, I think, needs a huge debate. Mudryk needs a big debate. Viega, I don't know. Tariq George, where does he fall into? Hmm. Tariq George, I mean, I wouldn't say underused. Or maybe you could, I mean, it'd be right to say underused because, yeah, what's his name? Nkunku isn't performing, and Tariq George isn't starting over him. But I'm just going to leave that for when we have more panelists out here to have a good conversation on with regards to what role to place them in or how to categorize them. But just by the way, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be rounding up soon. And I'm gonna go check whether we have. I'm gonna check whether we have any new, and if anything new has emerged news wise. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. Give me 1 second here. Let me go here. I'll come back there in a bit. And if you have any questions, drop it. Uh, George, I mean, it makes sense. I put him in underused. Yeah, because he's come off the bench and he's shown what he's capable of doing. I think, oh, and I don't know if you've heard me say this before. I'd take George over Nani Maduka actually, for reasons I've explained before, but I'm not going to do that right now. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to address it. If I don't have an answer, if I don't have a good answer to your question, I'll pretend I cannot see it. Let's see. Let's see if anything new has emerged. What do we have here? What do we have? Give me a second. I don't know why this that went blank. All right. I'm not sure. I'm checking to see if anything new has emerged. It doesn't look like it. The screen is still white, and it's actually X is just some. It drains the memory of the system. The since since he went from X to from Twitter to X, the engineers, I don't know if they don't know what they're doing. I'm sure I can do better than most of them there. But that's, by the way, we have who do we have here? We have all right, sorry, it doesn't look like the X thing will work, so I might not be able to go back there to see if anything new has emerged in terms of news. I'm not sure what you're doing there. Let's see what else we have. Most of the performing players haven't performed in 2 months. I don't understand the yardstick. Yes, then overall, since you can say since the start of the season, Cole Palmer has been performing. Moisés Caicedo has been performing. Who else is in the performing column? Yeah, who else? Let me know. I'll go back to that in a bit. Give me 1 second. Let's go back there. I don't know why I'm trying to look for news in X. Who do we have? So let me go back to the presentation window. Give me 1 second here. So in the performing row, we have Marco Correa, we have we have Moises Caicedo, we have Nicholas Jackson, and we have Cole Palmer. I mean, I think for so far overall the season, I think those they they've been performing, in my opinion. Maybe when we plug everybody in, then when we get to the final to the review uh, of the overall categorization, then maybe you can come in with the argument, and definitely, I promise you, I will. Again, we will have some visiting panelists to chip in, and we have a serious debate here. I promise you that. But let me read everything you have there. Most of the Let me read that once again. He says most of the performing players haven't performed in 2 months. I don't understand the yardstick because Sancho and Neto would be in that category too, par their performances of 4 months ago. But come on, measure. Sancho for me, he's been underperforming. He only is, as much as I don't think he's overrated, uh, he's performed here and there. There's never been a time where he performed game after game, just like Cole Palmer, just like Cucurella, or just like Nicholas Jackson or Moises Caicedo. But I'd like you to bring that argument when we have the visiting panelists and everyone else, and we plug in everything so that we can debate. We have 2 weeks, so we have a lot of time to go. But yeah, I understand your point. I mean, that can actually convince someone to say, yeah, maybe what's his name, Pedro Neto should go to performing. I get it. In the last 3 games, you could argue that he is arguably one of our best performers. But Cole Palmer, even he wasn't. He's not again. Yeah, he hasn't performed consistently of late. But the in what game was it? He scored when he scored a fluke goal. The I don't think he's been bad enough that you'd say he's not been performing. We're measuring, you can say the player's performance for the entirety of the season. Yeah, what we've seen since the start of the season. In his case, yeah, he's out of form, but I think he will recover. Let's see what else we have here. Any winger who's not averaging 15 GA in a season should be considered a flop. Yeah, maybe at the end of the season we do one where we have that. Nicholas, okay, Jackson. Now I get it. Let's see what else we have here. I'm just cheering for him to come back since Nkunku giving me PTSD. Nkunku, yeah, for me, oh, we have that debate. Palmer hasn't. I mean, I think it makes sense to argue that, but if we're going, yeah, I think Palmer deserves to go to underperforming. Really, I think I agree. It just doesn't make sense there. So I agree with you. You could argue Palmer has been underperforming. The three players you could argue that's performed doesn't deserve to go into underperforming are yeah, Marco Correa, Moisés Caicedo, and Nicholas Jackson. Even though you could say he's still out, in my opinion. Yeah, so I agree. It makes sense. It's not an argument, it's a fact. Kukurea has remained fairly consistent, but Casado stat has dropped significantly, and Jackson didn't get a goal in 8 games before he got injured. So you're saying Jackson go into should go in the underperforming role? We'll have that debate. We'll have visiting panelists, and also we'll have more panelists on here debate the placement of players. Use then those in the chat will also vote. Then we can move players around. But right now, I think maybe Nicholas Jackson. I don't want. I don't want. I don't want Vic to feel like he's convinced me to move Jackson to underperforming. But the truth, but there are other things. Even when he was suffering that, going through that patch of no goals, he still did a lot of stuff very well off the ball. So I think Jackson, he deserves to remain in that column, in my opinion. But yes, then let's just have fun when we have visiting panelists come and have more than one panelist on here. Then we can maybe you can say debate whether debate whether Jackson should go. But in the case of Cole Palmer, when he started struggling, uh, every other thing you can say he was giving away the ball in the midfield area, looked tired, looked as if he was mentally tired, making poor decisions, unlike him. So I'd say Cole Palmer, yeah, underperforming. We know he's not underused. He's performing, no, underperforming. So I agree. So you win that one. Let's see. Well, let's see what else you're saying there. Something is happening to my screen. I'm not sure what that is. I think X is draining. Yeah, it's draining the life out of my system. I don't know why that is the case. Really. So here, let's hear what you have to say. Vicky say it's yeah. I think I've read that, but still, I'm not sure what's happening to my screen. Really. Maybe I need to close out the X thing. It's causing issues here. Let's see what else we have here. It's not an argument, it's a fact. Kukurea has remained fairly consistent, but Casado stats has dropped. But even at that, he didn't. It's not like he started performing poorly after that. And Jackson didn't get a goal in 8 games, but he did every other thing well on the pitch. It's just the only issue. I agree. The goal drought was an issue. It did affect us, but I don't know if whether to say okay for him that yeah he had not been performing before he got injured. Give me 1 second here. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me now? I muted it mistakenly because I was trying to fix something at the time. Let me see. Where do I need to go back a bit. This your particular comment here. I don't think Jackson is injured. I think he's injured. This one here. In goal scoring sense, I would say Jackson, yeah, underperforming. It makes sense. I agree with that. You guys have convinced me. Let's see. You see why it's important to always get diversified opinion in such cases. Uh, Comparing to last season, okay. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if it comes back. What happened? Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. I didn't even know until you asked that question. I did mute it as I was struggling to get this to start working again. All right. Yep, there you go. I need to update that. That's not complete. Yeah, Nightbot is back at work. Bobby, big up to you. I appreciate you finding the time to join me on the panel. I was about to round up, but since you joined me, I'm going to show you the screen. I hope you can see the screen. We're categorizing players. On the tier list application on the screen here. We have underused category, we have underrated category, we have overrated category, we have performing category, we have underperforming category. A total of 5 categories there. But I'm about to round off. I was about to round off when I you uh, before I can then I saw you again in the back in the studio. So I have to let you in and get your opinion on the players we've placed in those respective categories to get your opinion on whether you disagree on or agree on any of them, if you can see it. But big up to you, Bobby. I do hope you're doing well.
Big up, coach. I
Right,
was
bro.
struggling to even hear you. Yeah, I mean, I can't quite see who you've got in the categories
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
at the top.
Under the category underused, we have Tosin,
Mm.
we have Philip Jorgensen, we have Benchewell, and the reason I added Benchewell there, I don't know. I should just take him off. I don't think Benchewell should be there. We've always known. It wasn't like we've always known. The manager made it clear that he's not part of the squad. But we have Mark Gui. Let's just go with Tosin, Philip Jorgensen, and Mark Gui. Those three underused category.
Underused.
Yeah, category.
Um, Mark Gui was always going to be somewhat underused because of his age and the stage of his development. Tosin is a surprise, and Jorgensen is stubbornness. I think we just have to blame the manager.
Mm. We will
I've
bring
got
it
to
to
a
that
point.
eventually.
Well, it has to. It's central
Mhm.
because I'm not sure what his plan is. I don't really know what. I don't really know what he's doing. Um, you need to have a. You need to start to see the plan coming to fruition. And in all fairness, I think the injuries and the absence of certain players has exposed him.
Mhm.
Um, he has he doesn't know how to rotate efficiently. Even when he does, I'm not sure he's using players correctly. And where he shouldn't be rotating as much, he's rotating a lot. It was on this platform that we had somebody um, um, uh, point out that the centre backs are rotating too much, you know, and uh, I don't
Unnecessarily
know.
to an extent, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's confusing. I can't really say what that's about.
Mhm.
Tosin, I don't see why he's been underused that much. Jorgensen, clearly he's still developing, but I think he's miles better than Sanchez. I don't know why he's insisting on using Sanchez again. I'm confused. I really am. I really am. I don't know much about where this manager is going. I had a lot of hope with him in the beginning,
Mm.
but we were all fooled. You know, he was being carried by Jackson in particular, Fofana when he's fit, and some of the other players that he's gotten rid of. It's I can't even answer your question, coach. You know, underutilized. Okay, so what? Where do we go from here?
Yeah. Again, he's shocked a lot of people. In my opinion, I still like him, and hopefully he learns from his mistakes. And every time we talk about how he again, again, for instance, whenever somebody talk about Felix, how he you can say didn't give him enough time. I will always remind people that he should have created a healthy competition between Felix and Cole Palmer. And had he done that, chances are Cole Palmer will be fully fit now. Or maybe just rotate them both. Felix is capable of playing in the 10 role. He has the vision, he has the creativity to fulfill the top 10 role effectively. He's a good passer of the ball. But unfortunately, he didn't do that. Hopefully, we see a change because man management is key to managing a large squad. And at Chelsea, he will always have numbers in terms of players within, you can say, in terms of players, and if he doesn't manage them well, he'd always he would find ourselves in a situation where players will start creating issues in the dressing room. But let's see what happens. Okay, Bobby, then we go to the underrated category. We have just two players there. We have Enzo Fernandez and Nani Madueke. Your thoughts, Bobby?
Um, is Enzo underrated? I don't think so. Is
Here's
Noni?
why. Okay, but go ahead. I'll let you drop. Then I'll explain why. If you go and ask Chelsea fans what they think about him, you see a lot of them say he's not good enough for Chelsea, or he's not. He's lazy. He's a reason we're conceding goal. And if you remember when we had in his absence, when the manager's focus at the time was to sort out our defensive issues because we have a very porous defensive line. He he wanted to have two sixes that are capable of doing more in terms of shielding the defensive line. He took Enzo off and at the time preferred the pairing of Lavia and Caicedo, and he even said during one of his presses that it's a temporary thing. He was just doing that to sort out the issues we have at the time. And people started showing stats of how many goals we conceded in his absence, and how many games we won in his absence, and how many we lost in whenever he's on the pitch for us. I think, for me, they don't rate him. That's a small opinion, but let's hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Enzo is a good player. I think he has to be utilized correctly. He reminds me of when we had Cesc Fabregas. You know, Cesc Fabregas was there to be an orchestrator. He was there to create.
Mm.
You know, Enzo is not necessarily that player. He has that in him, but it's not all about just creating for Enzo, but you know he's a bit more of a pacemaker in the team. So I don't think the issue is Enzo. I think Noni is overrated. I think he's very much a player in
Overrated?
development. Yes, I do. I think Maresca
Not
overrates
even
him.
underrated.
Yeah, I think Maresca overrates him. Maresca overplays him when he shouldn't. Noni's somebody that needs to be benched sometimes, and he plays better when his position is under threat. He's just that sort of player. So those two categories were kind of at odds. I wouldn't really say they're underrated at all.
Wow. I think you definitely you and Dante will agree on that one. You saying that Nani is overrated. I think numbers say otherwise though. Before he got in, numbers say otherwise, and how his absence affects us, in my opinion, so to say, proves that he's actually, in my opinion, I don't think he's overrated. But here, here's the
Well, he's an outlet.
let's see.
He's an
Let's yeah.
outlet, but he's it's porous. You know, he's porous. He doesn't give you much defensively, but he is an outlet. You know, you've got to give him that, and he is a threat. And I think perhaps against Arsenal, um, um, he would have been very effective. Not
Hmm.
that Neto didn't do his best. I thought Neto was good, but against Arsenal, I think that physical height that Noni has to offer would have given them problems. Although he doesn't always beat his man, and I wonder how he would have fared with Justin Timber, who's very good as is he a left back? Um, so look, there's weakness in this team, and the manager isn't helping. This is my irritation. The manager doesn't help. You know, I don't know what they're doing in training. I really don't. If their training is all this slow ball passing out from the back to nobody, then dare I start to say it, then he may not be the person for Chelsea. We can't do this. You know, we can't do this. Chelsea is not a club, especially now with this level of investment. Chelsea is not a club to operate in weakness.
All right.
You can't do
I've moved.
this.
Yeah, I've moved Nani to overrated. I think a lot of people agree with you, and I know Dante probably will say he's overrated. Nani is the
Yeah,
biggest overrated player at Chelsea, 100%. This man got privileged with Maresca and still messed up. In my opinion, I'd say
yeah.
numbers show for me, in my opinion, numbers would say otherwise. But here's the thing: the plan is to plug in all the players and then come back to looking at the categories where the players are placed and have a conversation about that. We have 2 weeks. That's a long time. I keep dropping the likes on the
Hmm.
stream, people. We'll be
We've
rounding up
had two
soon.
weeks before, coach,
Yeah.
and just done nothing. In fact, sometimes it just seems the more time he has, the less he seems to do with the team.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Interesting, Bobby. But we'll
yeah.
talk about,
Look at
yeah.
the Brighton situation. He had 10 days to Brighton, and that performance was shocking. Um, you know, I'm not encouraged at the moment. I'm not encouraged, even with the players we're expecting to come back from injury. I think there may be one. That is, if Reece James survives the England, if he survives the England call up, he's going to need time to recover as well.
Mhm.
It's all a shambles at the moment. It's all it's all a shambles, and our lack of physicality is telling. Is
Yeah,
telling.
not we'll see you. Nice to see you, brother. I do hope you're doing well, and I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Yeah, we've all been busy, and I hope your case is that you've been busy. If that's the case, hallelujah. Bills don't pay themselves. Nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I am not hearing any Gallagher nostalgia from Bobby again. Bobby,
No,
uh,
I wish Gallagher was there. I wish he never left. In
uh,
fact, if he was there, there would have been more aggression in the team, which is missing. Oh, definitely. I think we miss him a lot. With Lavia proving he's not fit enough to play Premier League football on a consistent basis.
mhm.
KDH, well, you know, he scored one goal against a very mediocre team. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, to be honest. And that's it. You know, Caicedo is on his own.
Yeah,
It's not. I don't really know what Maresca is doing. His personnel selection is faulty. We have to call it what it is. You know, he doesn't know how to select players. And I don't know what he has in his mind. What does he think is going to happen in the Premier League? You think you can just take the ball and control games from beginning to end? You know, Man City had certain unique players that helped them do that. They had people like De Bruyne, um, um, their DM, their defensive midfielder. Forgotten his name now. That's out injured. Bernardo Silva. They've got quality, experience, and ball winners and technicality all in one. At the moment, we have a load of kids, and
All right.
do we have the
Yeah, go
ball
ahead.
winners? I don't know. Maybe Caicedo, but a tree doesn't make a forest. There's nobody else with him that can hold the midfield for the others to show their artistry. And Maresca doesn't seem to see that.
All right, but
Terrible.
here's the next one. Again, to his defense, he has to work with what we have currently.
Well,
Um,
I tell you what, Coach. Do you know? I'll say the quiet part out loud. If he doesn't win the Conference League, he will lose his job. He will lose. In fact, the uproar from the fan base will get him out.
we know
As far
that.
as I'm concerned, he's got to do it. I didn't really want to say it, because I feel, sometimes you say these things and you're creating unnecessary pressure, but it's got to that point where it has to be said. He has no excuse for what he's doing. I don't care about the injuries. I think there's enough there for him to do more. He doesn't.
I'm not making excuses for anybody. And
He
said, again, I will start
he
judging him. Like we have to make
he,
top
he
four.
doesn't. He doesn't know how
Otherwise,
to use
that's
his
it. He's not the
players.
man. It's really that simple. But do I
Yeah.
think if we don't make top four, do I think they'll let him go? I'd say no. But I'm still hopeful we'll make top four.
No,
Um,
we're hopeful.
yeah,
He, he
that's
he's
all. That's
never
all we can
tried.
do. It's
He's
out
never
of our
tried
control.
Chalobah as a DM, for example, for his physicality. Never. He's put Reece James there. Okay, in some games it works. In other games, like the Arsenal game, it was just a pure waste of time. I don't think he knows his players, and he certainly doesn't understand the Premier League.
All right, Bobby. In the column, in the overrated column, we have Nkunku, we have Levi Colwell, we have Ben Badiashile, um, we have Wesley Fofana, we have Robert Sanchez, and yeah, and of course we have we we have Nani Madueke. Any
Yeah,
exceptions for you?
I think a player that does belong there is Badiashile. He is overrated. Yeah,
Okay.
he can make a pass or two, but he's clumsy. He's prone to error, and I don't know. He's too injury prone. So yes, I would say the manager overrates him. I don't know if anybody else does, but the manager overrates him. Levi Colwill, yes, I think he is overrated. Marginally, I think he's still very, very, very much in the earlier stages of his development.
Who?
Noni Levi Colwill. He is
Yeah.
overrated. Noni, well, maybe it's a bit unfair. He has his uses. Um, um, I wouldn't call him underrated, but I would hesitate to calling him overrated as well. He's a good
Okay.
player.
Fofana. Fofana.
Fofana's not overrated. He's injury prone, but he's
Why?
not overrated. Wesley
Yeah,
Fofana's
if we're not getting the value we paid for, if we paid that much money and he's hardly ever fit, and when he gets to play, makes some silly primary school mistakes, irrespective of, in my opinion, I think he's overrated. If you get my point, we'll still revisit this list and have more panelists, visiting panelists also, and argue. But let's hear you. What do you think? We paid that much money for him. He's hardly ever fit. He hasn't. How many times? How many games has he played? The longest he's played multiple games in a row for us, Bobby.
about two.
That's why I'm asking. In his case,
It's about two games in a row or
yeah,
so.
exactly. So that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, yeah, if it's not measuring, if it's not giving us a value that measures or anything close to what we paid for him, he's overrated. That's how I see it. But we will still have that conversation. It doesn't have to be about me. And if you're in the comment section, you heard Bobby saying Fofana is not overrated. Let's hear you. What category would you put him in? You said he's injury prone. We don't have that column. Because if you're not fit enough to play, then we're overrated. You will not get in anything close to how we rate you. If you get my point, Bobby. But let's hear you if you want to add anything to that.
Well, you know, do they have to be in the category that you've listed there at all?
Yeah, they
If they're
have to
not
be. Maybe
overrated
next
or
one
they're
we'll
not,
add one more category, maybe. But
well,
we no
if they
need.
don't
Yeah.
fit in either, they don't fit in either. It's as simple as that. If
Mhm.
he's not overrated and he's not underrated and he's just injury prone, I think what maybe you should have a column saying value for money. You know, is he
A row.
value for money?
Hmm. All right, we'll have that conversation temporarily. For performing players, we have only two players there: Marco Correa and Moisés Caicedo.
As what?
Performing.
Mark Cooker? Yeah, no, Cucurella's performing for sure. Caicedo's performing for sure. They're about the only two players that you can stick your neck out and say they're really um of value in the team.
Okay. I think we can all agree with that one. I had Nicholas Jackson there, and I had Cole Palmer there.
Jackson is would be there if he was finishing.
That's
Jackson,
that's
the
why that's how
worst.
people got me. That's how people got me to remove him from there. We want goals
Yeah,
from him. We started him in. He was starting in a position where we need him to be scoring goals, and he wasn't doing that. So that was why people were convinced me that yeah, he's underperforming.
yeah, he helps the team. Like I think Jackson is very, very instrumental to the success of Cole Palmer. I really do.
I
He
think we're
helps the
learning that the
team.
hard. We'll let that's obvious right now.
Yeah, he helps the team. But what where Jackson destroys himself is his finishing. His finishing for the positions he gets into is
Mhm.
diabolical. It is horrible. And that kills his game. That's why people lose patience with him. If
Mhm.
Jackson finished better, he'll probably be rated right now as perhaps one of the best players in the Premier League.
Yeah, because he has the XG, but his XG to the goals he scored is in the minus. Him and I think him even Cole Palmer's happened of late. The chances he missed
Cole Palmer's has happened
in our
since
recent games
Jackson.
led to his uh you could say his yeah. I think
Cole
his situation
Palmer,
got worse after Jackson got injured.
yeah.
All right, what else do we have here? Vic is asking me, must Fofana be overrated? But maybe by the time we have the visiting panelists and everybody together, we have a column in Jude. But my argument is that if you're
No,
not
I would put
available,
him in the column value for money. And I will put you know, the question, is he value for money? And there are
but
several
doesn't
people
that?
to go in
Yeah,
there.
go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
Him, Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Reece James, Romeo Lavia. These are the players that you question, are they value for money? You know, then we can look at what they're earning and we can look at the minutes they give the team and how
Mhm.
much their lack of fitness has made the team suffer.
Okay, let me ask you
There
this,
has to
Bobby.
be a column for that. Yeah.
The money we paid for him, right? We paid that much money because we rate him to a
Mm,
certain extent, right?
yeah.
So if it's not measuring, you can say if it's not producing anything that's close to how we rate him that led to us paying that much money, shouldn't it be simply overrated?
No,
But you could
because
argue, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
when he's fit, he's almost irreplaceable to the team. You hear what Maresca says, you know, gosh, that he misses um Fofana. Of course, anybody will
Go
miss
ahead, Bobby. Let
Fofana.
me go ahead. I'll join.
His work rate and you know the whole battling quality, the way he can carry the ball up. from defense. Yes, he makes a couple of mistakes, but I think that's because he's not, the complementary centre back with him is probably a bit deficient. But and there's a goal in him sometimes, so when he's fit, he's very, very, very much um um a value for money player. But how often is that? That's the question. How often is he available? The best ability is availability. Well, we've got a couple of question marks. Him, Reece James, and oh gosh, Romeo Lavia. We've got to really start. I'm not saying that we should get rid of them, but you have to
Mm.
assess what value are there for money. And my remedy to that is that they must at all times have another player that can do what they can do. They have to fight to be in the team. All three of those guys,
Yeah.
including Reece James. Okay, yeah, we have Gusto a little bit. Yeah, I guess Gusto is a bit of a challenge to him. But you can see when Reece James is fit, look at what he gives the team. But how often is that? That's the concern.
All right, we will revisit that once we're through with plugging in the players and the roles, and that you can say assigning categories to them, and then we still visit them and see if this would find the need to move around any of the players. Let's see. Yep, Vince just go away. Okay. Okay. The next row, Bobby, underperforming. For that row, we have Drewsbury Hall. We have the CC, which you could argue shouldn't even be there. We have Rich James. We have Malo Gusto. We have what's his name? Jadon Sancho, and we have Romeo Lavia. You could say the fact that he's hardly ever available. Cole Palmer underperforming. Cole Palmer definitely, we know he's not underused. He plays a lot. We know he's not underrated. We know everybody knows what he's capable of doing. We know he's not overrated. Yep. We know he's not performing, so definitely underperforming for Cole Palmer. Pedro Neto, I know you can argue one of our best players in the last three games, but before that, you can say he hasn't. You can say I don't think he had performed consistently before our last three games. Nicholas Jackson underperforming, and I know you've chipped in that also when you talked about it. Yeah, before he got injured, he had not been scoring goals, just missing. He missed sitters and all that. Even though he did other things off the ball very well, we know we respect him for that. But he started in the striking position as a number nine. So if he had not been scoring before he got injured, definitely, yeah, underperforming. Let's see, what are you referencing there, Wax? Last 10 games, who? Hot player? I'm not sure. I'm okay. More likes, people. I think I gotta run. We'll continue tomorrow. We have 2 weeks to discuss a lot of stuff. Transfers possibly some days, but usually we start off the show by addressing the some news items after some research. Remember, the plan is to get this done. We're working on inviting on getting visiting panelists, some trusted heads to have good conversation with regards where we placed where the players are placed to see if there's be the need to move around some of them and put them in other roles where them you could say more suitable roles to them. Bobby, did you hear all the names I mentioned for the underperforming role?
Yeah, coach, I'm here. I'm driving, so sometimes I lose you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
okay. Yeah.
Or
You're
you
good.
can,
You're good. We're actually in the last
so yep.
row. In the
Tell
last
me who.
row,
Yeah.
we have Drusville Hall, the CC, and I did say the CC shouldn't be there, in my opinion. We have Rhys James, Malo Gusto, Jadon Sancho, Roméo Lavia. In his case, yeah, because he's hardly ever available. So why categorize him as performing? But I'll listen to you. We have Palmer, we have what's his name, Pedro Neto, and then Nicholas Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, underperforming that role.
Well, we've been through this, coach. I think you're missing a category as to value for money. I don't think some. It's not that
Okay,
these
we will
players are
add that. We will
necessarily.
add that. Okay.
Yeah, I can't say. For example, I can't say that Romeo Lavia is underperforming. He's never been fit. The odd times he's had a little bit of fitness, he has really helped the team. Same thing with Fafana. Same thing with Rhys James. Whenever they are really fit, they help the team. So the underperforming aspect is
Tricky.
it's a difficult, yeah, it's a difficult place to fill. I wouldn't put Noni there either. I don't think
No,
he's
not Nani is
underperforming.
already in overrated. How about yeah, how about Malo Gusto?
That's a good question. Now Malo Gusto is underperforming. What are the reasons for that? One of which is when he has the opportunity to shoot, his shooting is wayward. He gets beaten too much defensively. And you know me, I don't like weakness in players. You know, he goes in for a 50-50 tackle, and he's always the one in a heap on the floor. So I would say I think I would want more from him. So I think he is underperforming, in my opinion. So he can stay there. Who else have we got?
Sancho.
Who?
Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, Sancho. Sancho is underperforming in that this is a player who has excellent close ball control but doesn't shoot. He shot once, and when he did, he scored. Since then, he doesn't shoot. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know whether that's Maresca and what he thinks is his way of playing football. But I don't think. I think I expect more from Sancho. I really do. So
I
yes,
do expect
Sancho
more
is
from
on the.
him, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely Sancho and Gusto belong there.
Right. But yeah, I think we should call it a day. We'll continue tomorrow. We'll make adjustments to areas where you don't agree. Hopefully, we'll have more people on the panel tomorrow. We have 2 weeks to have some fun before the Premier League club football comes back again, and we stream on daily basis now. But the timing I cannot promise will be stable, except if I have anybody to always start at a particular time every day. But I want to say thank you to you for finding the time to
I
join
I
me. Go
I hope
ahead.
I can make it tomorrow. I never really know when you're streaming, so it's a bit hit and miss.
It's
And
tomorrow
tomorrow I
about
might.
around this time too. Whatever happens, it will almost always
Yeah.
be around this time, maybe an hour earlier or an hour late.
Yeah. I
But
won't
I
be
will
around
always keep you.
till
I will
very
always
late
you always
tomorrow.
see the links in the group. Maybe after scheduling, I'll let everybody know we have a show scheduled for a certain time the next day. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I can, I will. But I may be home really late tomorrow, so I don't know. But yeah. But you're
No
on
problem.
Saturday, aren't
Mhm.
you? So
Yeah, yeah.
you're
Saturday
saying
to
every
Sunday
day
too.
the
Yeah,
same.
definitely. Yeah. All right,
Okay.
Bobby. All right,
All
thank you
right.
so much. I appreciate you finding the time to join. And before we round off, what you're saying, it's not Maresca. Sancho was like this, even at Manchester United. Ask any United fan. I'm not going to judge Sancho by what any United fan tells me. That's because they don't like him. He left the club, and they weren't happy that he left. So they were even before he started playing for Chelsea, they were pushing narratives to start to get Chelsea fans to start hating the player. I think there's an excellent player in there. Right now, I'd say he's underperforming, and he will come good. We've seen flashes of what he is capable of doing. Sancho, Felix Nkunku, Badia Chile, and many others should start learning Chinese. Okay. All right, people, I want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate you all finding time to join me. If all of you in the chat, thank you so much. See you guys next time. God bless us all, and bye.
Wake up, it's a blue.
Hey, go wake up, baby. It's a Chelsea day. So blue, baby, that's cheering pain. Talking dreams while the sky stays bright. Rest your head, but not the night. Every morning, every goal we see. In our hearts, it's Chelsea, me and you, we can agree. Oh, take me out and stand with you, river you talk. When to tap by, take it you. Oh, Chelsea, we stand tall. We stand tall. Everywhere we give our all. Everywhere, yeah. Forever we're true. We must be. Together we rise, just me and you. In nights that you will go home. 3 hours so near to my home. It will look so deep in river. Whoa, whoa. In the blue, our spirits fly. With every cheer, we touch the sky. In this love, we find our way. Chelsea forever, day by day. Whoa, Chelsea, Chelsea stands tall. Cover up with the hand. We give our all. Chelsea, forever we're true. Together we rise, just me and you. Hey, go wake up, baby. It's a Chelsea day. So blue, baby, that's cheering pain. Talking dreams while the sky stays bright. Rest your head, but not the night. Every morning, every goal we see. In our hearts, it's Chelsea, me and you, we can agree. Oh, take me out and stand with you, river you talk. When to tap by, take it you. Oh, Chelsea, we stand tall. We stand tall. Everywhere we give our all. Everywhere, yeah. Forever we're true. We must be. Together we rise, just me and you. In nights that you will go home. 3 hours so near to my home. It will look so deep in river. Whoa, whoa. In the blue, our spirits fly. With every cheer, we touch the sky. In this love, we find our way. Chelsea forever, day by day. Whoa, Chelsea, Chelsea stands tall. Cover up with the hand. We give our all. Chelsea, forever we're true. Together we rise, just me and you. Hey, go wake up, baby. It's a Chelsea day. So blue, baby, that's children play, talking dreams while the sky stays bright. Rest your head, but not the night. Every morning, every go we see. In our hearts it's Chelsea, me and you, we can agree. Oh, take me out of stand. With you, privilege, you talk. When to tap, I take it to. Oh, Chelsea, we stand tall. We stand tall. Everywhere we give our all. Everywhere, yeah. Forever we're true. We must be. Together we rise, just me and you. In nights that you are gone, 3 hours so near to my own. Never like so late by in river. Whoa, whoa. In the blue, our spirits fly. With every cheer, we touch the sky. In this love, we find our way. Chelsea forever, day by day. Whoa, Chelsea, stands tall. Never up with the head. We give our all. Chelsea, forever we're true. Together we rise, just me and you. Hey, go wake up, baby. It's a Chelsea day. So blue, baby, that's children play. Talking dreams while the sky stays bright. Rest your head, but not the night. Every morning, every go we see. In our hearts it's Chelsea, me and you, we can agree. Oh, take me out of stand. With you, privilege, you talk. When to tap, I take it to. Oh, Chelsea, we stand tall. We stand tall. Everywhere we give our all. Everywhere, yeah. Forever we're true. We must be. Together we rise, just me and you. In nights that you are gone, 3 hours so near to my own. Never like so late by in me.